New head coach Frank Reich lands an optimal job with the Indianapolis Colts, and from the looks of it, he may be getting Andrew Luck back at quarterback, which would be a great thing for this football team. But how does the rest of this roster stack up with the division in the AFC South? That's what we are here today to break down as we preview the upcoming season for the Indianapolis Colts. Let's take a look at some of the key storylines heading into the season as we go into our 4-minute offense. Well, a week of camp is in the books, as well as one preseason game, and all is well in Colts land as Andrew Luck was back on the field throwing passes in a Colts uniform. This was an ongoing story for nearly 2 seasons for Indianapolis, and now that number 12 is back into the fold with no setbacks, normalcy can start to return to the Colts offense. Luck is a premier player at the position and definitely gives them a chance to be successful on that side of the ball. The hope is that he can continue to make progress as the summer rolls on, but all indications are that he should be just fine September 9th against Cincinnati. And oh, by the way, the Indianapolis Colts have a new head coach in Frank Reich, who comes over from the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Reich may not have been the first choice for Indy, but he was definitely the right one in my opinion. His ability to be flexible with personnel on a game-to-game basis, in addition to his work with quarterbacks, is very impressive. He walks into a situation that has Andrew Luck and a capable number 2 in Jacoby Brissett. Reich also, from all reports, is a genuinely good guy and one that players definitely respect. He also has brought in a good stable of assistant coaches as well that have helped build this program in the right direction. One of those assistant coaching hires was new defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus, who is a linebacker coach with the Dallas Cowboys. This is his first NFL defensive coordinator job, but he has been one before at the collegiate level at Missouri from 2001 to 2008. Even if one were to focus on the job he did in Dallas, it's safe to say that for a while there, the Cowboys' second level was considered the best of an ever-changing defense. So he'll get his swing at the defensive coordinator bat in Indy and has the benefit of the unknown going for him as far as what his plan will be on a week-to-week basis is concerned. So it should be interesting to watch play out. And one critical piece to the defense returns from injury, and that's second-year safety Malik Hooker. Last year as a rookie, Hooker was well on pace for plenty all-rookie honors before suffering a knee injury. What makes him special is his instincts, his range, and his ball skills. If the Colts' pass rush can increase this season as expected, then Hooker will be in more advantageous situations to make even more plays on the ball. Having him back at 100% is huge for this defense. Reason for optimism for Indianapolis would be the improvements they've made along the offensive line. I think this was very underrated this offseason as they did a very good job of strengthening the offensive front. They signed Austin Howard in free agency. In the draft, they selected Quentin Nelson out of Notre Dame, who many consider to be the best guard prospect in the draft in many years. They also nabbed my number 1 guard prospect in Braid Smith out of Auburn, and you combine those 3 additions with what they currently have on the roster in Ryan Kelly, Joe Haig, and Anthony Costanzo, along with some very good depth players like Raven Clark, and you can't help but be optimistic about the improvement up front this season for Indy, which also leads to much better quarterback play, and the Colts have a very strong quarterback room to boast, in my opinion. We know Andrew Luck is a stud player, but they got really strong play last year from Jacoby Brissett as well, who came over in a trade early in the season and played well. Even third-string quarterback Philip Walker made the team last year on the practice squad after a strong camp in preseason. That's a good group to work with if you're offensive coordinator Nick Sirianni and quarterbacks coach Marcus Brady. The tight end position can also give you some optimism as they have both Jack Doyle and free agent signee Eric Ebron. Doyle was already a key player in the Colts passing game and now should have even better opportunities with the addition of head coach Frank Reich and fellow tight end Eric Ebron. Now in Ebron, they get a player who is coming off of a strong year with Detroit and is coming into Indy with something to prove, and that mindset almost always yields good results. I would also be optimistic about the defensive potential of Indianapolis. This was another area where I thought they got significantly better this offseason, both in free agency and in the draft. They've added some productive athletes within the front 7 as they move to a 4-3 defense. A guy like Terrell Basham, who had his ups and downs as a rookie trying to transition to an outside linebacker in 3-4 defense, now goes back to a more natural end in a 40 front, and he should be able to perform like he did back at Ohio University. I think this defense will surprise many this upcoming season. A cause for concern would be the receivers outside of T.Y. Hilton. I know they brought in Ryan Grant via free agency, and he's coming in looking to prove his worth as a number 2, but there's still a wait-and-see approach there as well. Elsewhere, from 3 through 7, there's a lot of youth and inexperience that'll have to get squared away before the season starts. The talent is definitely there, but it has to show itself soon. Otherwise, this could be a huge question mark going into the season. I would also be slightly concerned with the running game. Marlon Mack is penciled in as a starter and is already dealing with a hamstring issue after the first game of the preseason. This puts pressure on 2 rookies in Nyheim Hines and Jordan Wilkins to elevate their level of readiness within this offense. More than likely, that's going to be surrounding the pass protection department, as they are terrific runners, but will this be a lingering, ongoing issue with Mack, as he's expected to be the lead dog in this offense, will be something to monitor this upcoming year. Now, here are some quick takes as the Colts go through training camp. I think both center Ryan Kelly and defensive tackle Grover Stewart are in for breakout seasons. Kelly dealt with injuries and a concussion last season, and he's now fully healthy and will be in the conversation for the best center in the game. He's a really good player. Grover Stewart acclimated himself well last year as he made the jump from Division II to the NFL. Now, in his second season, look for his unique set of skills to be on full display within this defense and become a standout as a result. Some training camp surprises would be Andrew Luck and Terrell Basham. I think the Luck one is a no-brainer. The fact that he's playing is huge for this football team, and I think Basham fits better in this defense that'll ask him to attack upfield a little bit more without coverage responsibilities, and we'll start to see him reach his immense potential as a pass rusher. Rookie standouts this year, in my opinion, will be Nyheim Hines and Darius Leonard. Hines has a versatile skill set to be an explosive playmaker for the Colts on both ends of offense. He's going to have a fantastic rookie season. And remember when I spoke about the Colts adding productive athletes? That aptly describes the second-round pick out of South Carolina State in Darius Leonard. He was a standout this past January at the Senior Bowl and has already been a talk of both mini and training camp. And from a fantasy football perspective, the main target on this team, in my opinion, would be wide receiver T.Y. Hilton. I think he's for sure money in fantasy football, no matter who is throwing him the ball, and I'd say a second-round value would be a good spot to snatch him up in your drafts. The road to the Super Bowl for the Indianapolis Colts goes as follows. The first one is probably an obvious one, but if Andrew Luck shows no ill effect from the injury and time off, the Colts should be back in business within the division. Second, the defense has to improve to at least top 15. Last year, because of both injuries and ineffective play, the Colts struggled mightily on that side of the ball. I think they've done more than enough that could help them get into the top 15 of total defense this year. A better offense, a more consistent offense could actually aid that as well. And finally, if the running game and receiving core stabilizes and becomes a strength, this team could find themselves playing for the Lombardi come February. I have the Colts finishing 4th in the AFC South. They will be much improved over last year, especially on defense. I am still taking a wait-and-see approach with their offense, despite my belief that the offensive line will actually be a strength this year. I think the foundation is being laid this season, and there are a few pieces away from being true contenders. In 2019, in my opinion, we could definitely see them make some serious moves within the AFC. So that's it for our 2018 NFL season team preview. Be sure to follow me on all of our social media accounts. Also check out and subscribe on iTunes to Football Game Plan Podcast, and to find other NFL team previews for our 2018 NFL season kickoff, visit the YouTube channel at youtube.com/footballgameplan and click that subscribe button.